met Veronica. 11 years of 18-hour days, missed holidays, and cheap apartments. By the time we met at a mutual friend's dinner party, I owned 3 commercial properties, a logistics company with 42 employees, and an investment portfolio my accountant called quietly impressive. I wasn't flashy about it. I drove a used car and split the bill on our first 4 dates before she insisted on paying the 5th. She had her own career, her own savings, her own ambition. She wasn't looking for a free ride, or so I thought. I proposed after 2 years together. She said yes before I finished the sentence. The venue was booked, invitations ordered, and her dress already altered twice. 6 months out, my lawyer sat me down and said what lawyers always say: protect what you built. The prenuptial agreement was not aggressive. It simply stated that assets acquired before the marriage would remain separate in a divorce. Everything built together afterward would be split equally. My lawyer called it one of the most reasonable agreements he had ever written. I brought it to Veronica on a Sunday evening after dinner. No distractions, no pressure, just the two of us at the kitchen table with a glass of wine. I slid the folder across and explained everything calmly. She didn't open it. She looked at me like I had accused her of something terrible. The silence lasted 30 seconds before she pushed it back and said the word insult. Just that one word at first. Then came the rest. She said a prenup meant I didn't trust her, that I was already planning for us to fail, that no woman with self-respect would sign something like that. I let her finish. Then I explained again that this was standard practice for anyone with assets and that my feelings for her had nothing to do with it. She walked to the bedroom and closed the door. Over the next 2 weeks, I tried 3 more times. Each conversation ended the same way. She called it a power move. She called it controlling. She told her mother, who called me cold. She told her best friend, who texted me a paragraph about red flags. Nobody in her circle wanted a rational conversation. They wanted me to back down. I didn't back down. I canceled the wedding. I called the venue on a Wednesday morning, then the caterer, then the photographer. That evening, I posted a short statement on my personal social media. I didn't name her or attack her. I simply wrote that our wedding would not be moving forward and that 2 people entering a marriage should be willing to have honest financial conversations without it becoming a crisis. I turned off my notifications and went to sleep. The next morning at 7:45, there was a knock at my door. Her father, Roland, was standing on my porch with his hands in his pockets. He was a quiet man, a retired contractor who had always been decent to me. I opened the door and offered him coffee. We sat at the same kitchen table where I had first shown Veronica the prenup. He didn't waste time. He told me she had been wrong to react the way she did. He said he had read the agreement himself and found it completely fair. He told me her mother had been filling her head with bad advice for years and had watched it damage more than one situation in their family. Then he said something unexpected. He told me Veronica had called him the night before, not to complain, but because she was scared. Scared she had destroyed something real over advice from someone who turned every relationship into a competition. He slid a signed copy of the prenup across the table. She had signed it that morning. I looked at the paper for a long time. I thought about the 11 years before she existed in my life and what I actually wanted the next 50 to look like. I asked Roland why she hadn't come herself. He smiled slightly and said she was sitting in the car at the end of the driveway and had been for 20 minutes. I walked outside. She was in the passenger seat with her hands folded in her lap. I knocked on the window. She rolled it down. Her eyes were red. She didn't make excuses. She just said she was sorry and that she understood if it was too late. I told her it wasn't, but I told her we were calling her mother after this and having the most direct conversation that woman had ever been part of. Veronica laughed even though she was still crying. We rescheduled for the following spring. Roland stayed for 2 cups of coffee and left without making it dramatic. This time, every document was signed before any deposit was paid.